I can't think of a better way to end the speeches today than to pass the microphone to the next gentleman. He is an inspiration to many of us. He's a true leader when it comes to exercising a voice for conservation. He writes the truth, he writes it frankly and pertinently. He is the one and the only, the brilliant, and I stress the word brilliant, Mr. George Monbiot.
People, thanks for bearing with it. Now, one of the problems that all those of us who love the natural world face is that we spend our lives telling people not to do things. Don't drive that car, don't take that flight, don't eat that fish, don't spray that field. And of course we have to do this because we have to live within the constraints of the living planet. And if we live as if there is no tomorrow, there will be no tomorrow. But at the same time, we have to offer something in return, and that something in return is a positive vision. All too often, the environmentalist call sounds like, follow us, and the world will be slightly less crap than it would otherwise have been. And we need better than that. We need follow us to a much better world than we have at the moment. We need a positive environmentalism alongside the constraints. And today we've heard many aspects of that positive environmentalism championed by our wonderful Chris here and by all the other fantastic speakers that we've heard. So thank you to them. But to me, the most exciting aspect of it is rewilding. The mass restoration of living systems, bringing back the wildlife, undoing the damage that we've done. And for me, this vision means looking first to the uplands, the vast unfertile areas where it just doesn't make any sense to be bashing the land to produce a tiny amount of meat. It makes even less sense, as Mark has been saying, to be ripping the whole ecosystem apart to produce grouse, or indeed using it for another elite sport, which is deer stalking in the Highlands of Scotland. These are our potential wildlife refuges, these wonderful uplands which could be and should be teeming with wildlife. Let the trees come back. Hey. Bring back the lynx. Bring back the wild boar. Allow the wildcats and the pine martins and the capercaillies, the goshawks to return. Let's see the golden eagles soar over all our hills once more. Rewild the rivers. Let our rivers run free. Let them braid and meander and form islands and pools and riffle sections where they've been dredged and canalised and turned into little more than concrete drains. Let those rivers become not just magnificent refuges for wildlife, but also, by allowing them to go wild again, hold back the waters that would otherwise flood our towns. Let them be the corridors down which the otters and the kingfishers and the other magnificent creatures can move so they can come into the cities, reconnecting us with nature, reconnecting cities with countryside. Bring back the beavers, our great ecosystem engineers, which create habitats for so many other species. At sea, let us declare vast areas closed to commercial fishing, closed to dredging, closed to oil drilling, closed to other forms of extraction, where once more fish and cold water corals and crustaceans and shellfish can breed and grow to enormous sizes. It will bounce back at extraordinary speed. And when that happens, the sharks will come back. The whales will come back. The dolphins will come back. Bluefin tuna will once more storm our coasts in enormous shoals as they did just 50 years ago. Once again, as they could in the 18th century, we can watch the shoals of herring being harried by sperm whales and fin whales from the British shore. This, my friends, is our positive vision, a positive environmentalism, a better world than we have today, a world which is within reach, which we, starting today, can make happen. We can restore our marvels, we can bring back our wonderful ecosystems, we can replace our silent spring with a raucous summer. Thank you.
Monbiot, Mark Avery, the ministers have done us all proud, but most of all, I think this afternoon you've done us proud. You've come from all corners of the UK. In fact, when I asked at the outset whether anyone had come from overseas, there was a voice in the crowd that wasn't loud enough for me to hear. There's a lady that's come from Uganda. Another lady who's come from Jersey, which is technically overseas, but it's obviously still part of the UK. You've put in the effort, you've spent the money, you've given up your day, you've stood in the rain, you've listened, hopefully you've learned, you've got a copy of the manifesto. Let's go away and make this work. My duty now is to take 5 young people into Downing Street to present this petition. And this is a petition that's been in the Lush stores this week. We've asked people to sign a peace treaty to end the war on wildlife. The war on wildlife is what Dave Goulson described in his talk. That's what we've been waging with those tons of pesticides. That's what